Hello, brothers and sisters. How are you today? I'm doing all right. Today, I wanna wrap up this series of videos that I've been working on with the Four Horsemen. I want to go ahead and get this done so we can get the playlist put together and get the series out the way. I've been very interested in the signs of the end times, and I think that these particular signs, these scriptures concerning the horsemen, are very relevant for the times that we live in. I think that it's quite possible we are coming to see the conclusion of the horsemen in the days that we're living in. I know that there are probably a few other interpretations or ideas or theories of what the horsemen are and who they are. But when you look at the end times as a whole picture, and you see how the horsemen fit into this, then you come to understand that it's not a particular person, as in the Antichrist or some such thing. No, it's not. It's not, in fact, that these horsemen running through the earth are preparing the earth for the coming of the beast. It's not the beast or the Antichrist or the false prophet or people who are already in this kingdom. No, these horsemen are preparing the earth for this kingdom, for this beast. We've already covered the first, second, and third horsemen. And just to give a quick recap, I said the first horseman was democracy, and that democracy was sent forth conquering and to conquer, just as it has done. It has prepared the world for this idea that we, the people, choose our leaders through a system of election or voting. The second horseman was the rider on the red horse, and that it was given a great sword, and that this sword was in fact a nuclear bomb, that anyone with nuclear weapons is able to take peace from any other country that doesn't have nuclear weapons. Well, which might be the reason why this North Korea is so set on attaining nuclear weapons, right? Yes, because then they will be able to protect their system of government, their way of life, or their peace, whatever that might be. The third horseman has a pair of balances, rides a dark horse, black horse, and goes through the earth proclaiming a set amount of food for a set amount of money. And I said that this horseman was in a particular economy, a system of economy, and that economy is capitalism, okay? And that capitalism follows democracy wherever it goes. And that these three horses are setting the world up, right? And today we're going to go over the fourth horseman. The fourth horseman. And that would be Revelation chapter 6, verse 7. And he says, "And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, 'Come and see.' And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the field." Beasts of the earth, excuse me. As far as particular interpretation, or to be able to explain to you that this rider of the horseman being death and hell, I guess I don't see the relevance. What I see is the overall picture of this horse riding through the earth. And I think that this particular event of having been given power over the fourth part of the earth to kill, and of course the manner with which he kills. It says that he kills with sword, with hunger, with death, and with beasts of the earth. Now, we've already covered with sword, right? With death, if we're talking about war, right? The first horseman given power to go forth conquering and to conquer. I mean, that's war. There's war going on. And in war, you use sword. So I think that this with sword would be, through war, okay? And with hunger, famine, right? That's basically what the third horseman covers. The third horse covers, the system of economy. It was talking about, a measure of food for a measure of money, and how that measure of money was about a day's wage for a day's worth of food. And, I see that as being a depression, and in a depression, there's not much work, so there's going to be a lot of people being hungry. In fact, in some countries right now, I think there's like Sudan, Nigeria, definitely Yemen, and there's a couple more. They're experiencing a famine right now, a serious famine. Millions of people starving to death. Not because there's not food in the earth for them to eat, it's that they can't get the food that's in the earth for them to eat. Why? Because of the economy, you see. Yes, it is because of the economy that they can't get the food, right? They don't have the money to trade for the food. The people who have the food would rather the food rot than give it to people who are starving to death. Why? Because there's no money to be made in giving it to them. And that angers me. That angers me terribly so, because God has provided more than enough for everyone in this world to be full, to be satisfied. And yet there are millions of people in this world starving as a result of capitalism. Yes. Now, I say these things, and it might sound to you like, I don't agree with our government, or I don't agree with our economy, or I might be a socialist, or any other thing, but that's just not the case, brothers and sisters. I'm for none of those things. Do you understand? I am for none of those things. I am for my King, and I am for His way of life. I am for my Father, my God in heaven, and His way of life. That is what I am for. And there's no system of government on this earth that even comes close to that, to say, or to compare me to say that I am of this government party or whatever. I have no opinions. I have no politics. I have no politics, brothers and sisters. I only have truth. And with the beasts, I think there's a couple of ways of looking at that with the beasts. Some might say that was animal attacks. And I suppose that could be true. But, I think that in some translations you see it says with pestilence. All of our diseases, our flus, most of our viruses, they all come from an animal. Take, for example, rabies. Rabies comes from an animal. H1N1, swine flu, mad cow disease. All your flus comes from birds. The plague came from fleas. All these serious diseases, these epidemics, pandemic type diseases, come from animals, brothers and sisters. AIDS from monkeys. It's just, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And I'm just wondering if this killing a quarter of the earth with the beasts of the earth is not these diseases that spring from the animals. Yes, I believe it's true. But I guess what I really want to show is that how the fourth horseman is a culmination of the first three, right? The fourth horseman is a culmination of the first three. Now, as each of these three horsemen rides through the earth, each one is creating its very own type of chaos. The white horseman, sent forth conquering and to conquer. Instituting this democracy, obviously, is disrupting peace. It's disrupting those countries. Whether democracy is liberating these countries or whether the people are better off or not, I have no opinion on. You know what I'm saying? It's just what is happening, right? And this is happening all over the world. Has happened all over the world. There's not a country in the world that doesn't vote, brothers and sisters. I pick on North Korea a lot simply because in the media it's in the news a lot right now. I'm not picking on North Korea, but even North Korea, brothers and sisters, vote. Whether their elections are a sham or not, I don't know, but they vote. Saudi Arabia, they vote. Any nation that you want to put a finger to, they all vote. And that the purpose of this first horseman was to institute a system of government whereby people get to choose. Because the coming of the Antichrist, as I said in this first video, the coming of the Antichrist is coming in by means of peace. And that he should be ushered into power, Meaning that people will choose him to be their leader, Yes. Obviously, the second horseman is, how the first horseman retains the power that he, institutes in these countries that become democratical, whether they themselves possess the weapons, nuclear weapons, or whether, they're allies with someone who does, all right? Of course, the third horseman being, an economy. All three of these things, if you look in the world right now, democracy, democratic governments, yes, nuclear weapons, and economy, all three of these things are in chaos right now in this world, brothers and sisters. All three of these things. I mean, there wars and rumors of wars every day with North Korea over their nuclear weapons. All three of these things are in chaos right now. There is no order in these three things. And what I'm telling you is that this fourth horseman will be when the very fabric of our society completely and totally breaks down. When the economy breaks down, when democracy breaks down, and when obviously a nuclear bomb is destined to go off somewhere, brothers and sisters. There are just too many nuclear weapons in this world for not one to detonate at some point. Whether it's a leader or whether it's some terrorist group that, gained control of a nuclear weapon, a dirty bomb as they call them. I mean, it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. And when these things happen, this will be the rider. This will be the fulfillment of the fourth horseman. And that's when right there, that's when the beast is going to step up, brothers and sisters. This is when this last system of government will be instituted. Yes? Because as the whole entire world is in a depression, as the whole entire world's government has broken down, because, one of the things that's happening, especially in America, but not just America, in Europe and in the Middle East right now, all the governments are breaking down. The peoples of these countries are being divided between political factions. Okay? And so much scandal and, so many lies and all these different things is causing the public to lose confidence in their governments. You see what I'm saying? Yes. And most places are screaming for a fair and just ruler. All right? So that as the world drifts into this chaos, as the fourth horseman rides, and you'll see rioting, you'll see looting in the streets, people are going to be killing each other for a loaf of bread, okay? As the fabric of our society entirely breaks down, this is when this one man will rise to power. And it won't be right off. He won't control the whole world right off the bat. But eventually he will come to do this, peaceably I might add, okay? Because he'll have the solution. He'll have a new system of government. He'll have a new economy. And furthermore, he will want to do away with the nuclear weapons, I'm sure, to maintain peace. And this is the purpose of the four horsemen. This is the true purpose of the four horsemen, to create this chaos in the earth so that society breaks down and that this one individual, whomever he might come to be, will rise to power. And this is when we will start seeing the oppression globally. I mean, the oppression of Christians and the persecution of Christians is happening, spottedly everywhere. But this is when it will become global, and there will be a reason for this. And the reason will be because this new order, this new world order, this new system of government and economy and all these different things there'll be friction against it, and it will come from the Christians. It will come from the Christians, brothers and sisters. Why? Because we know the truth. We know the truth. And he will be fulfilling these signs, these prophecies. At first it'll start off with small prophecies in the lesser prophet books. Amos, Joel, Hosea, Micah, Malachi, Zechariah. These smaller prophecies. But then, when the trumpets start blowing and these other prophecies start coming to pass, we're going to be, the loudest in the streets. And he's going to turn people against us, I mean, Jesus said that father against the son, mother against the daughter. Jesus said that a man's greatest enemies is those in his household, and that, that they will deliver you up to be persecuted and to be killed. And that's when we're going to see this, because it's also a fulfillment of Revelation chapter 13, which I'm not going to go into that. I think I've already made a video of the mark of the beast. If you haven't seen that, go check it out, brothers and sisters. Because these are the days in which we live, I I can't impress that enough. I can't say that enough. And it saddens me, I suppose, that, well, nobody really watches the videos, and that's okay. I'm not making them to be popular, just that the truth would be out there, and that to have the truth and for no one to hear the truth or listen to the truth is saddening. And I understand, well, as Jesus walked this earth, why he didn't really revel in joy too very much. There's only a couple times in the Gospels that it says, and Jesus was joyful, And I think that's because of the sadness of knowing that there were going to be so many people that could have had the chance to live and yet refused to see the truth or refused to hear the truth, But, brothers and sisters, I suppose that knowing that so few are ready to receive the truth make those few so very precious, so very precious. And so for those few of you who see and hear this truth, you're very precious, not just to me, obviously, but to the Lord above. Really don't know what more to say about these horsemen, brothers and sisters. Except that, they're riding, and the fourth horseman is soon to be fulfilled. The fourth horseman is soon to be fulfilled. Alright, that's really all I got to say about it. And as always, I'm on Facebook. I have videos on YouTube. Comment, call if you got my number, whatever. And I will gladly talk with you, and we can kick this around the sands if you want. We can talk about the gospel. We can talk about the ministry of reconciliation. We can talk about anything that you want. Okay? Alright. I love you all, and I'm praying for everyone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.